There are days when we just can't take it anymore. Life squeezes. The silence hurts. The answer that never arrives begins to weigh on the chest. You bend your knees, pray, and nothing changes. The tears run down on the pillow, and the heart begins to ask, has God forgot me? I know how it is. I've been in this place, where everything seems lost, where fear takes over, and where faith begins to falter. But it was precisely in one of those moments that I discovered something that changed everything. A prayer, simple, sincere, handwritten, placed under the pillow for 3 nights, and delivered into the hands of a saint known for intercede where no one else gets. Santa Rita de Cassia, the saint of the impossible causes. No, this is not magical. It is not superstition. It is faith. It is delivery. It is a symbolic gesture that opens ways, which shows the sky that you still believe, even in the midst of chaos. And when you put that prayer under the pillow, something changes. Not out, but inside. And that's where the miracle begins. In this video, I will teach you how to do this practice. And if you have a tight heart, if you need an urgent answer, or feel like you can't take it anymore, stay with me until the end. Maybe this is the signal you have asked for so much. If this message has touched your heart, if you believe that faith moves the impossible, then subscribe here to the channel. Together, we will strengthen hope, share prayers, and keep this flame that unites us. Activate the bell not to lose any message that can change your day, or even your life. Saint Rita de Cassia, known worldwide Christian as the patron saint of impossible causes, has responded in miracles for over 500 years. Her story is of incredible perseverance, unshakable faith, and the kind of spiritual strength that transforms ordinary people into extraordinary instruments of divine grace. But what makes this practice so special is not only the saint we invoke, but the deep act of surrender that happens when we literally sleep with our deepest desires pressured against our hearts, allowing our subconscious marine in faith throughout the night. The practice I am about to teach you is beautifully simple but spiritually deep. It does not require special equipment, expensive candles, complicated rituals that take hours to be performed. All you need is a sincere heart, a piece of paper, and the willingness to trust something bigger than yourself. These are not magic tricks or meaningless superstitions. It is about creating a sacred space where your faith can flourish and where the impossible becomes possible through divine intervention. Now tell me here in the comments, what is the miracle you are waiting for? Write with faith, even in a nutshell, because when we write, we materialize, and I'll be here reading one by one, praying with you. Let's create a powerful current of prayer in the comments. Right now, without fear, Santa Rita is listening. Let me guide you for this transformative practice step by step. First, you need to find a moment of silence when you can be alone with your thoughts and your deepest needs. This is not something to do in a hasty during a commercial interval or while doing several things at the same time. Book at least 15 minutes to truly focus on what you are about to do. Find a comfortable place to sit, perhaps at the kitchen table or in your favorite chair, somewhere that seems quiet and sacred. Take a blank sheet of paper. Nothing special is necessary, just something that looks fresh and new. Some people prefer to use special tone paper or even scroll. But honestly, what matters most is the intention behind their words, not the role in which they are written. Now, with a pen in hand, start writing your prayer. This is not the time for formal language or to try to impress someone with their vocabulary. Write with your heart, using the words that come naturally to you. Pour your deepest need in that role. You may be facing a health crisis that doctors say it is incurable. Perhaps it is struggling with a relationship that seems irreparable. Perhaps it is drowning in financial problems that seem insurmountable. Whatever your impossible situation, write it with total honesty and vulnerability. Do not contain yourself. Do not try to make it look beautiful or presentable. God already knows your heart, so talk to Him through your pen with the same frankness you would use when talking to your closest friend. When writing, remember that Santa Rita herself faced impossible situations. She was married to an abusive husband in an arranged wedding, but prayed for her 18-year conversion until he finally changed his mind. She wanted to become a nun, but was rejected for being a widow and having children. She faced the tragic loss of her children and countless other sorrows that would have crushed a miner's spirit. Even so, despite everything, she maintained her faith and became a powerful defender of those who face their own impossible circumstances. When you finish writing your prayer, read it once more. Feel the weight of your words, the sincerity of your request, the hope that begins to light up in your heart. Now bend the paper carefully. Some people like to bend it in a small square, others prefer to bend it in half and then half again. There is no right or wrong way, just do what seems natural to you. The important thing is that you are handling this role with reverence, recognizing that it contains something sacred, your hopes and deeper fears offered to the sky. Now comes the most important part of this practice. In the next 3 nights, you will put this folded prayer under your pillow before bed. 3 nights, no more, no less. There is something significant about this number in many spiritual traditions, representing the conclusion, the divine perfection, and the time needed for transformation to begin. Every night, as you prepare to sleep, put the paper under your pillow, and before you close your eyes, read your prayer silently in your mind. After mentally reciting your prayer, pray a Father and a Rowbird specifically for the intercession of Santa Rita. These are not just empty words or meaningless repetitions. You are dialoguing with the sky, asking Saint Rita to take your petition directly to the throne of God. Imagine her by her side, this powerful saint who understands suffering and impossibility, taking her prayer in her hands and introducing her to Jesus himself. The symbolism of sleeping with your prayer under the pillow is deep and beautiful. Throughout the night, while his conscious mind rests, his subconscious continues to keep his prayer close. His head, the thirst for his thoughts and dreams, rests directly above his deepest desires. In a very real sense, you are sleeping with faith, allowing your whole being to be saturated with hope and trust. Your dreams can be touched by your prayer, your rest can be quieter, and your morning awakening can bring a sense of renewed strength. Many people who have practiced this ritual report having had vivid dreams during these 3 nights. Some dream of Santa Rita herself, which seems to offer comfort and safety. Others dream of their situations starting to change, glimpsing solutions that they had not previously considered. Still others simply experience a deep sense of peace they haven't felt for months or years. These dreams are not guarantees of specific results, but often serve as signs that their prayer has been heard and that spiritual forces are beginning to work in their favor. Maria, a single mother of Chicago, was facing the eviction of her apartment. She had lost her job due to staff cuts at the company, and despite running everywhere, could not find a job that covered her expenses. The owner had already started a lawsuit, and she had nowhere to go with her 2 young children. Following her grandmother's advice, she wrote a prayer asking Santa Rita to help her find a way to keep her family together and with housing. For 3 nights, he slept with this prayer under the pillow. On Wednesday morning, he received a call from a company where he had been interviewed weeks earlier. They offered him a vacancy that paid significantly more than the previous job. And when he explained his situation to the new employer, they even gave him a salary advance so that she could pay the rent. There is also Robert, a 60-year-old man who had been away from his adult son for over 10 years after a fierce discussion of family inheritance. The silence between them had become what seemed to be a permanent hatred. Robert's health was getting worse, and he desperately wanted to reconcile before it was too late, but all attempts at communication were rejected. He wrote a prayer asking Saint Rita to soften her son's heart and open a door to forgiveness. 3 nights later, out of nowhere, his son called him. The conversation was difficult at the beginning, but led to a series of conversations that ended up restoring the relationship. Robert passed away 2 years later, but those last years have been full of the joy of having his son back in his life. These stories are not unique or extraordinary in the world of devotion to Santa Rita. Thousands of people have similar testimonies about prayed prayers, transformed hearts, and impossible situations resolved through this simple practice. But it is crucial to understand that this is not magic, and it is no guarantee that you will receive exactly what you asked, exactly the way you imagined it. This is faith in action. And faith requires that we trust that God's wisdom goes beyond our own understanding. Sometimes the answer to our prayer is yes, and our situation drastically changes in ways that can only be described as miraculous. Sometimes the answer is to wait, and we have received strength to support our difficulties while a solution develops over time. And sometimes the answer is no, but we received something better than what we originally asked for, something we could not have imagined when we first wrote our prayer. The power of this practice does not only reside in the petition itself, but in the act of delivery that accompanies it. When you put this prayer under the pillow and rest your head on it, you are making a physical statement of trust. You are telling God, Saint Rita, and yourself who are willing to give up control and allow divine providence to act in your life. This delivery is often the hardest part of the whole process, especially if you are used to solving problems through your own effort and determination. Faith and silence go hand in hand in this practice. After completing your 3 nights, you don't have to talk about your prayer or constantly analyzing if it is working. In fact, many spiritual masters suggest that excessive discussion about their petition may interfere with the process. There is something powerful in keeping his request in sacred silence, allowing him to act under the surface of his consciousness. Confidence in God's time is another crucial element of this practice. We live in a world of instant gratification, where we expect immediate results from everything we do. But spiritual transformation usually happens in a different schedule than we would like. Some prayers are answered in days or weeks, while others take months or even years to speak completely. The secret is to maintain faith during this period of waiting, knowing that your prayer has been heard and that the answer is already on its way. By trusting divine time, you begin to notice changes in your energy, your thoughts, and even your daily routine. You can feel more at peace in the midst of difficult circumstances. You can find that you are sleeping better, thinking more clearly, or finding little moments of joy even in the midst of your problems. These internal changes are often the first signs that your prayer is being met, even if your external circumstances have not yet changed. Sleeping with your prayer under the pillow can also change energy in your home in subtle but significant ways. Many people report that their spaces of coexistence seem more peaceful and harmonious during and after the 3 nights. Family members may notice that you look calmer and more centered. Discussions may decrease, and there may be a general sensation of greater blessing and protection about your family. If you consider this practice significant and want to deepen your devotion to Santa Rita, there are many other ways to honor it and seek your intercession. You may consider keeping a small statue or image of it in your home, light candles in your honor, or visit a church dedicated to it if there is one in your region. Some people choose to pray a novena to Santa Rita, which is a 9-day prayer cycle that allows an even deeper spiritual connection. Reading about Santa Rita's life can also strengthen your faith and help you understand why it is such a powerful intercessor in impossible cases. Its story is incredible perseverance in the face of seemingly insurmountable obstacles. She faced domestic violence, the loss of her children, the rejection of religious communities, and countless other challenges that would have defeated someone with less faith. Even so, despite everything, she kept her confidence in God and her commitment to prayer, eventually becoming one of the most beloved holy in Christian history. Some people incorporate fasting or other forms of sacrifice in their prayer practice, believing that these additional acts of devotion demonstrate their seriousness and commitment to their petition. Although this is not necessary for the practice of prayer on the pillow to be effective, it can deepen your spiritual experience and help you feel more connected to the process. Others find it useful to combine this practice with the regular frequency to Mass or other religious services, creating a broader context of faith and community support to their prayer intentions. Being surrounded by other faithful who understand the power of prayer can provide encouragement and strength in difficult times. The most important thing to remember by embarking on this practice is that you are not alone in your struggles. Santa Rita is ready to intercede for you, and countless other faithful around the world are also turning to her in search of help in her impossible situations. You are joining a spiritual community that encompasses centuries and continents, united by faith and hope in the face of seemingly insurmountable adversities. Now, my sister, I want to invite her to pray with me. Close your eyes if you can, put your hand over your heart, and join your voice to mine in a supplication that will rise to heaven as a smooth and powerful incense. Beginning of prayer. O glorious and beloved Saint Rita de Cassia, Cassia's precious pearl, an unshakable woman and lawyer of the causes that seem lost forever, here I am before you with a tired soul and the heavy heart, as a daughter who seeks the mother's lap. You, who you know suffering in all her forms, the pain of a difficult marriage, the anguish of a mother who fears the soul. From your children, the solitude of widowhood and the frustration of a delayed dream. You understand my pain. You know the name of my affliction. You see the walls that rise before me. O Santa Rita, desperate lawyer, refuge at the last minute, today I deposit in your hands, symbolically, through this written prayer that I put under my pillow, my impossible cause. Mention your request in your heart. Look at this situation that steals me peace, that consumes my energies and trying to undermine my faith. I have already fought with my own strength. I've sought human paths, but now I recognize my smallness and my total dependence on the grace of God. I ask you, Holy of the Impossible, that I light this plea of mine to the throne of the Most High. It presents to the heart of Jesus my tears, my fears, and my hope. Ask him that, by your merits and your mighty intercession, look at me with mercy. May your infinite power break the currents that attach me, topple the barriers that keep me from moving on, and open the doors that are closed today. Teach me, Santa Rita, to have your patience in the trials. Teach me to have your faith that you do not question, but trust. Teach me to forgive as you forgive, and to love as you loved. That during these 3 nights when my request will rest under my head, your heavenly aid work in my favor. May the angels of God end up around me, driving away all evil and all negativity, and that, upon awakening, I can feel in my heart the certainty that my miracle is already on its way, according to God's holy will. O powerful Santa Rita, I trust my cause. He welcomes her, defends her, leads her to victory. And I commit to being a witness to your power and the mercy of God, to spread your devotion, and to thank you forever for the miracle that, by your intercession, I know I will receive. Amen. To conclude, I want to emphasize that this practice requires nothing more than a sincere heart and a genuine faith. You don't have to be a perfect person or have all your defined spiritual life. You do not need to understand all the theological complexities of the holy intercession or have years of experience in prayer. You simply need to be willing to extend your hand with faith and trust that your prayer matters to God. The 3 nights you spend sleeping with your prayer under the pillow are just the beginning of your spiritual journey with this petition. What happens later, how your prayer unfolds in your life, and how you respond to God's answer, all this will be part of your unique story of faith. Some people find that their prayers are answered quickly and dramatically, while others discover that the process of praying itself transforms them in ways they have never imagined. I encourage you to address this practice with a clean heart and true faith. Do not try to manipulate the result or require specific results. Instead, offer your prayer with humility and openness, trusting that God knows what is best for you, even when you can't see the general panorama. Remember that sometimes what we find impossible is, in fact, unlikely, and sometimes what we think we need is not what we really need. If you decide to try this practice, I invite you to return to this video later and share your experience in the comments. Your testimony may be exactly what someone else needs to hear to strengthen their own faith. Don't worry if your story sounds impressive or dramatic enough. Sometimes the most powerful testimonies are the silent, the stories of hearts that found peace, minds that have discovered clarity, or spirits who have learned to trust again. Please consider sharing this video with someone who is facing your own impossible situation. Perhaps it is a family member with health problems, a friend who is experiencing a difficult divorce, or a co-worker with financial difficulties. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do for someone is to share a tool that can help you connect with divine grace and find strength to move on. Sharing this video may be the real change in someone's life. It may be the spark that rekindles faith, the hope that sustains it in the most difficult times, or the practical spiritual tool you need to start your healing journey. Never underestimate the power to share faith-based content, which has the potential to transform lives. Remember, Santa Rita specializes in impossible cases. If you are facing something that seems beyond the human solution, you are exactly the kind of person she loves to help. Do not let doubt or discouragement prevent you from experiencing this practice. Make this leap of faith, write your prayer and sleep with it near your heart for 3 nights. Then observe and wait to see how God responds to his sincere petition offered by the powerful intercession of Santa Rita de Cassia.